He gave us this beautiful gift, a gift of music, and a gift that, thanks, Vic, gift of life. But he just gave us a gift of music, and we want to thank him. He gave a gift to everybody here in Quebec and in Montreal, and I'm really proud that he's my father.
You know, I was subject to a lot of racial slurs and whatever else people will call you, you know. Nigger, boule noir, on the bus, you know, the constant bugging, pulling my hair and stuff.
When you're the only black people, you have people that are racist. So throughout school years, I would have a lot of people, kids calling me names, you know, the big N-word, and waiting for you every day after school to throw rocks at you. And
my dad walked in my room and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Oh, I hate school. I don't want to go to school anymore. People always picking on me." And I had this light in my room. The light was like a light bulb hanging from the ceiling, and you pull the string, because that was the only way you could get the light on, so there was this string dangling, and you pull it. So my dad took that string, that rope, it was like a chain with a string, and he wrapped it around a pillow, and he said, "Hit that pillow."
My way of defending myself was to joke about it. So, like, for instance, I used to tell the kids that used to call me names and bother me that my father was a cannibal, and that if they kept bothering me, they would come to their houses and eat them. And it actually worked. It actually worked.
Hit that pillow like you mean it, like no one's going to call you black, nigger, anything anymore.
One day when my dad came to school to pick me up with his big burly-looking self and the beard and the big muscles, you know, and the kids, all their eyes were this big, they couldn't believe it. And they're like, "Hey, il va te manger, c'est un cannibale." I used to tell them, "Be careful. You call me a name again, he'll be in your window." And I'd say he had special powers of voodoo, too, that he was African and all that.
You hit that pillow with the anger that you feel inside at how people make you feel. You hit it. And boy, I closed my eyes and I hit that pillow, and I swear to God, all the light, the plaster all around it just came tumbling down on the floor, and I was like, oh my God, I felt really bad. I thought he'd be mad at me because the light came out. And he just looked at me and said, "Next time a kid comes up to you, calls you nigger, that's how you hit them." And that was the end of that.
The best part of my life was raising my family in our own little place up in the Laurentians, which was Uncle Charlie's Jazz Joint. And that was in Valmorin. What's so good about it, I had everybody with me. And we lived very happily. We had this huge parlor the size of this club pretty near, with a huge fireplace. And me and Nelson used to play. And we'd start playing at 10 o'clock at night, and we might not finish till 5 in the morning.
And there was people from all over the world that would go there, like big artists. Like we met Tom Jones, and we met Gladys Knight and the Pips, and I can't even remember. There was like different stars every month that used to go there. And they all would end up to Uncle Charlie's Jazz Joint. So we ended up meeting people from all over the world. Tony Bennett would drop in. And
that's when the whole family was together then. Before that, me and Charles, we were working together. He was selling cars in the daytime, of course. I wasn't doing nothing else but playing because I was single. And he was looking after his family, which, I mean, out there hanging out with me all night. You know, drinking all night and playing all night, and then have to get up in the morning to be to work at 8 o'clock. But anyway, he was doing that then.
I can't recall the year, but I came up there. Now, his knowledge of French was a little limited, and I went up on St. Catherine Street. I can't think of the car deal, and there's Charlie with his desk as a salesman, and he's selling this French gentleman a car. And I don't know how they got it together, but he ended up signing whatever papers put you in debt.
Some of my best memories of my dad or when he would try to speak French and we would crack up. He didn't necessarily like that, but we couldn't help it. So because of that, he didn't really try that hard to get his French down, especially when we were around. It was pretty difficult for him.
Hurry up, all take the A train to find the quickest way to get to home. Said if you must take the A train, you'll find you get to where you want if you hurry.
I mean, we had times where the pipes would all freeze and we had to go down this huge hill to get water out of a creek and then climb back up the hill. And we had a wood stove to heat the house, so we had to heat the water to wash our clothes, our hair, ourselves, whatever. So it was pretty rough. And now I don't take small things like that, like running hot water, for granted.
He'd come home with some pretty meager paychecks, but he had 2 or 3 jobs a lot of times to try to compensate for that. But he never lost the drive and the will to kind of like push the jazz thing all the way. And he also resisted compromising a lot, because that was what a lot of jazz musicians were doing at the time.
Obviously, when rock and roll came in, it definitely affected Charlie's career and a lot of other jazz musicians that didn't believe in that type of music. And, when you have kids that are hungry 3 times a day, you have to bring in some money. And somebody offered him a job on a Sunday afternoon, and he said, "Why don't you come?" So I went with him. And he got on stage with these other musicians with this electric bass and started to play rock and roll. And halfway through the gig, I had to get up and walk out. And I was in tears. I was not the man that I knew that was up there. He was somebody who was prostituting himself to make a living. And I told him I'd rather starve than see him do that.
And he was also very concerned with keeping his family together.